I'm going to say 3 words which you're all going to know immediately and associate with the Admiral. Make your bed. 9 years ago, you made the commencement address here at the University of Texas. And that commencement address went viral. It's become iconic. Everybody can summon those words as an admonition almost. How did that speech come to you, Bill?
Yeah, so Bill Powers, when he was the president here, had invited me to be the commencement speaker, I don't know, 3 or 4 months before May. And obviously, you know, anytime you're invited to be a commencement speaker, it's quite an honor. But I had a day job, so I was running the university, I was running the Special Operations Command. So I started writing the speech about, maybe 2 weeks before I was supposed to give it. I'd kind of been mulling some ideas over in my head. So I started writing it on the weekends, a little bit here, a little bit there. And I had this great theme, and I thought I was going to pull it all together. And then the Wednesday before the Saturday that I was supposed to give the speech, I realized the speech didn't work. I mean, it wasn't a good speech. And I went downstairs. I've been writing upstairs. I went downstairs. I see Georgianne. I went, oh, my God, it doesn't work. It's not a good speech. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm giving the speech in a couple of days. And she says to me, she said, well, why don't you write about something you know? And I thought, well, that's an interesting concept. And I told her, I said, yeah, but the only thing I know is how to be a Navy SEAL. And she said, well, write about that. But at the time, you may recall there had been a number of kind of administration officials that had been, scheduled to give commencement addresses, and then the student population kind of voted them down, and they didn't end up doing it. And I thought, if I talk about being a Navy SEAL to university students here, and 8,000 students were graduating, I think, that year, and 25,000 family members, I thought, I'm going to be in uniform? I don't know how this is going to go. But I decided to go ahead and do it that way. And the reason I did was it occurred to me that SEAL training, which is 6 months long, really was a microcosm of life. I mean, it was about the challenges that you had every day in SEAL training were the same sort of challenges you were going to face in life. You were going to fail. You had to build relationships. There were going to be bullies out there. There were bad things that happened in that 6 months that, to me, after now almost 37 years after I had gone through SEAL training, I realized that it really was a reflection of life at large. So I started drawing on the lessons from SEAL training to write the speech. And then, of course, I had to put it in kind of chronological order. People always ask me, why did I put make your bed first? And the answer was, because that's the first thing we did every day. I mean, you had to get up every morning in SEAL training and make your bed because it was going to be inspected. And as I've told folks before, the value of that, of the idea that you're going to get up, you're going to take a little pride in it, and it encourages you to do another task and another, and also about the little things in life. And that was what one of the instructors said. Look, if you can't even make your bed to exacting standards, how are we ever going to trust you to lead a complex SEAL mission? Learn to do the little things right, and you'll learn to do the big things right. But what I didn't say in the speech, and I reflected on it later, was really later in my life, and of course I made my bed every day in the military. But in Iraq and Afghanistan, it actually took on a little bit of a different meaning, particularly when I was in Afghanistan. So I was a 3-star admiral in Afghanistan. I was a second-ranking guy in Afghanistan, and I lived in what we referred to as a bee hut, made by the Navy Seabees. And it was just a plywood room, about half the size, about a fourth the size of this stage. And in my plywood room was a bed. That was it. The latrines, the heads were outside. There was no shelf, just a bed, a rack in Navy parlance. And every morning I would get up, I'd go do my PT, I'd come back, and I'd make the bed. Because outside my bee hut was a wartime environment. Unfortunately, every week we lost kids in combat. Civilians were inadvertently killed. Some admiral, some general, some president, some prime minister, somebody was yelling at me about something outside that door. And my days were long. I mean, my average day was probably 20 hours a day. And some days you'd go days before getting back to that room. But when I got back to the room and I opened my plywood door, the bed was made. And it gave me some sense of control of my life. And I mean, and again, hard to kind of square the circle on why that's the case, but when you open the room and the bed is made, there's a sense of order. And I've told folks, look, it's a simple task, but I really do think it makes a difference, certainly makes a difference for me.